King Philip IV of France, also known as Philip the Fair or Philip the Handsome, ruled from 1285 to 1314. He had several conflicts and disputes with the Knights Templar, which eventually led to his vendetta against them. The Knights Templar, or simply the Templars, were a military and religious order founded in the early 12th century during the Crusades to protect Christian pilgrims in the Holy Land. Over time, they became highly renowned, wealthy, and influential. They evolved from being mere protectors of pilgrims to having tens of thousands of members from noble families. They received many privileges, accumulating wealth from donations and gifts. They had access to significant financial resources, becoming one of the most powerful financial institutions in Europe at the time. During this period, the Roman Catholic Church made a significant decision, exempting the Templars from the prohibition on usury, even though usury was frowned upon in the Christian world. This allowed the Templars to establish banks and financial institutions that eventually served functions similar to our modern banking system. They were also exempt from paying a tithe of 1/10 of their income to the church, were tax-free, and enjoyed the protection of the papacy. However, King Philip IV's relationship with the Knights Templar deteriorated over time due to several factors. 1. Philip IV was involved in costly military conflicts, including the 100 Years' War with England. To finance these wars, he accumulated significant debts to various parties, including the financially powerful Templars. He felt burdened by these debts. 2. As a king, Philip naturally sought to control the vast wealth and power of the Templars, which he viewed as a potential political and financial threat that could undermine his authority. 3. During this period, the Roman Catholic Church held immense influence, and the relationship between kings and the church was often complex. The Pope and the Church wielded significant political power and could influence the actions of kings and their governments. However, the Church consistently granted privileges to the Templars. These factors contributed to King Philip's growing animosity towards the Templars and the papacy. By 1303, the once revered Templars had suffered military defeats in the Crusades, and accusations against them had been circulating for some time. The failure in this crusade was subsequently exploited by King Philip IV to attack the two most prestigious institutions for Christians at the time, the papacy and the Knights Templar. King Philip focused his attention on his primary target, Pope Boniface VIII. In 1301, Pope Boniface VIII issued a controversial statement asserting papal supremacy over kings, provoking Philip to send troops under Guillaume de Nogaret to force the Pope's resignation in 1303. Although Pope Boniface was released after 3 days, the experience deeply shook him. As the situation worsened, Philip began spreading various accusations against the Templars, alleging their involvement in highly controversial practices such as homosexuality, cannibalism, baby killings, child abuse, as well as occult and supernatural rituals. The Templars were also accused of worshipping Baphomet, a demon represented as a preserved head or an idol with a goat's beard and cloven hoofs. Philip then planned a massive operation to arrest the Templars. On October 13, 1307, approximately 15,000 Templar members and individuals associated with them, including servants, tenants, farmers, and shepherds, were arrested throughout France. The Templar monks were sent to churches across France to face severe condemnation. Philip successfully captured key leaders of the Templar order, including Grand Master Jacques de Molay. Despite the relatively small number of senior members arrested, Philip promptly seized the Templars' lands and properties, having previously ordered surveys of their assets. He also sent agents to find individuals with negative views of the Templars to serve as incriminating witnesses. These agents claimed that they were forced to renounce Christ and his disciples, with some recounting harrowing experiences like spitting on the cross, enduring homosexual advances, and venerating idols made from severed heads. Such dramatic testimonies were designed to shock and create fear in the courts, reinforcing the underlying charges. Besides physical torture, psychological torture was also common to extract confessions. Prisoners were kept in strict confinement and subjected to hunger, given only bread and water. Physical torture began only when they refused to admit to the charges against them. Ultimately, Templar members in France provided confessions in hopes of receiving pardon and release, but these promises turned out to be cynical, and they realized they would not be freed. After the torture ended, they were imprisoned in cold, unhealthy cells without bedding or blankets. An anonymous chronicler in 1308 recorded the unimaginable cruelties they endured. Some Templar members were displayed for propaganda purposes, forced to repeat their confessions in court to influence public opinion. However, a few, including Hugues de Perraud and Grand Master de Molay, stuck to their original confessions. In 1309, they retracted their confessions, but the situation changed when King Philip threatened the Pope through cardinals sent to oversee the trial in Paris. In the end, in 1310, King Philip took steps to conclude the ongoing trials. On May 12 of the same year, 54 Templar members, all considered relapsed idol worshippers, were gathered in a suburban area near Paris and slowly burned at the stake using small fires. Another 67 Templar members met the same fate by the end of the month. Members who consistently denied the charges against them were sentenced to life imprisonment. Only those who confessed and stuck to their confessions had hope of release. Finally, on June 5, 1311, after over 2 years of unimaginable cruelty, the trials of the Templar order concluded. 8 months later, in 1312, Pope Clement V issued a papal bull that officially dissolved the Templar order. The Templars' properties, which had been negotiated with King Philip, were transferred to the Knights Hospitaller. Philip even received a 10% commission from this deal. Other Templar properties were handed over to various parties in Germany, Italy, and Cyprus. In England, Templar properties were initially transferred to guardians appointed by King Edward II but eventually changed hands in 1313. In the following months, Jacques de Molay and 3 other senior Templar members were put on trial again in Paris. This time, the trial was conducted in front of various prominent figures, including leading cardinals, church officials, theologians, and lawyers. While it was expected that they would provide new confessions, de Molay refused to do so. Instead, he chose to stick to his retraction of his confession and died courageously in the flames as a way to redeem himself and his honor. Unfortunately, King Philip IV did not live long enough to enjoy his victory over the Templars or witness the impact on papal authority. He died on November 29, 1314, just 8 months after Jacques de Molay's execution. There has been speculation about the cause of Philip's death, including the theory that he may have died of guilt over his significant role in the Templar trials.